Hi folks, it's Matt Carter here. I'm just recording a quick video for you to teach you some of the topics in response to the survey that I sent out just the other day. So just to remind you, in case you missed that survey, just to keep you up to date with what I'm doing, I'll just actually jump out of here and go over here. I'm just looking through my list. I've highlighted a couple of things here in yellow. I'll take that off. I sent out a survey the other day asking you guys on my email list what topics you would like me to discuss. So I asked a lot of questions about like what are you into, what topics would you like me to do videos on. So there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of replies to that survey, which is fantastic, and I appreciate every one of you sending through all your replies. You can see I'm just scrolling down the screen now, and there's all these requests for content from me for videos. So as I said in my email, I've been really busy over the last really 18 months. 2 years, 18 months, especially busy creating new companies, really. So I started my journey doing affiliate marketing many years ago, about 5 years ago, and it's developed a lot since then. I still make a six-figure, plus a year income from affiliate marketing, but I've also developed my own brand of health food products that I sell through a supply chain, a wholesaling across the country in New Zealand where I live, and I sell retail as well. So I've developed that brand, and it's grown reasonably quickly, and I've learned a lot. It's been quite a journey with that, and also doing my own brands on Amazon in the United States, selling my own branded products in the USA, and I'm developing that company a lot at the moment too. So there's been a lot of development, so that's why I've been relatively quiet on my content out to my email list, and I do apologize, but I'm obviously working away on my own companies too, like you guys all are, but I do want to make sure I still provide as much of a free service as I can to people on my email list. So I sent out the survey. You guys filled it out and told me what you want. So I'm just making my way through this list and looking at the popular requests that people have. There's a lot of people that want to find a product and a supplier, that want to sell physical products on Amazon. A huge amount of people want to sell physical products on Amazon. I think it was the largest response out of the questions about what are the topics that you're into. The number one response was selling physical products on Amazon. Still a lot of people doing affiliate stuff, but overwhelming amount wanting to sell their own physical branded product, which I found quite interesting. And a lot of people wanting to know how to choose products, how to choose markets, how to create a brand. So I'm just basically going to work through all the information that you sent here and create videos, free videos out of this information, so that I'm just giving you what you wanna hear, because I think that's going to be the most helpful. So that's what we did. So to start this video series off, I'm just going to do short videos, keep them nice and short, and post one on my blog, hopefully weekly if I can. If time allows me to, I'll do my very best, but that might be fortnightly. We'll see how we get on. So the first thing I want to talk about is selling your own branded physical products. So this is your own product that you can either get developed or white label or private label, as some people call it, and you can sell it. Now, I know a lot of you will probably be aware of this already. Amazon is one way to do it. It's certainly not the only way to do it. Some people sort of get a little bit short-sighted and only see Amazon, and they don't realize that you can sell in a lot more places than just Amazon. So but let's talk about that in this video, and the first thing I want to get straight into is choosing a market. So here's some of the key things that I would like to talk about around choosing a market, which I think some people don't often look at these things closely enough. So when you're getting your own product created, we'll look at how to do that in other videos, because there's lots of people that were asking me, how do you find a product? How do you do the branding? How do you do all that sort of stuff and pull it together? That's all really good questions, and we'll get to that. But I think before you even jump ahead and look at that, you need to look at the things on the screen here to sort of understand the market before you just jump into a market. Some people will teach you just to go for an opportunity, like if something's selling, just go and sell that product and do it better. And you can do that. That's one way to do it, and that does work. I have done that and do that, so I'm not saying that that's wrong by any means, but all I'm saying is you might also want to think it through a little bit more than just that, because you need to understand the market that you're going into. It's not just about spotting a product that's already selling and going, that's the best opportunity ever, because it may not be. I mean, competition level might be one thing, but there's other things to think through. So the first thing I would encourage you to think about is just defining the customer. Like, what sort of customer is in the niche market that you're looking at? If you're looking at a particular opportunity, I would look at what sort of customer you're going to be acquiring, because some customers are a lot easier to sell to than others, especially if you're dealing with Amazon. You don't really, if you're selling on Amazon, they have a built-in review system. And if you've got a fickle customer that's really sort of person that would like to complain a lot and not give good reviews very easily, that's going to be a more difficult customer for you to work with. And unfortunately, men tend to be more like that than women. Men can be a little more difficult to sell to, more skeptical and less likely to leave a 5-star review than a female. So you might want to that's the simplest thing to define the gender of the customer. A lot of people don't do that. They don't even think about that. They don't even think about who their target customer may well be and how easy it will be to sell to them. Majority of online shopping for households is still done by the mother or the female, and the household, the wife or the partner does a lot of the buying. So you need to think through your markets and who you're targeting and why you're targeting them, to just to understand how it will be like to connect with that type of customer. I always like to see if I can come up with a repeat sales opportunity if I can. It's much easier to sell repeat sales to the same customer than trying to acquire a new customer all the time. Of course, it does. Not every market's got that ability to have repeat sales. But if you can, if I had a choice between two, I would definitely go for the one where it's a repeat consumable product, so I can keep selling it to them again and again and again. Because in the long run, you'll make more money, and it will be easier for you to make more money if you're getting repeat sales of a product. If you have a loyal customer that comes and buys off you every month, over time you will win out off rather than just going after a new customer all the time. It's a lot more difficult to do that. So that's something else you might want to consider. Along that same vein, start thinking of cross-selling. Is there any other products that you might be able to sell in a pipeline to the customer that are similarly related? Obviously, in my health brand that I have, I've got a lot of products in a pipeline that I can sell to my customers that are very closely related. And they do buy multiple products. They don't just buy one, and they repeat buy multiple products. So that's what you want to start thinking about, is ways to increase the average sale from the customer, and not only repeat selling but cross-selling other products that are similar to them. You also want to consider the sales channel that you'll start with. Probably the easiest bet, and what's just becoming extremely popular these days, is selling on Amazon. Amazon is a great place to sell a product, and the reason it's such a great place to start is because you can start with just one product and not look unusual. And there's a huge amount of traffic in Amazon, so you can make a huge, full-time income from one product, and people do that all the time on Amazon, and replace day jobs with just one single product. You would look rather unusual if you tried to go wholesale with one product on its own. You can do that, but you're less likely to get momentum with just one single product. But you can push products wholesale, and we'll talk a lot about wholesaling in this video series that I'll create wholesale, because I know a lot about wholesaling products. But think of the sales channel that you're going to go down, and just make sure that your product's going to work on that sales channel, because not every product will. On Amazon, and for example, if a product's really big and bulky, it's not a really good fit for the Amazon fulfillment by Amazon model because of it. Or if the price is really high, it might not work so well. And the other thing to consider before you dive into a market is just the point of difference. Like, what are you going to bring to this market that will make you stand out from the other products? You can just rely on being better at marketing with traffic generation and getting more traffic to your offer. That's fine. That is in itself a point of difference in your marketing. But as far as the perception of your product to the customer, is there any way that you can overcome some of the issues with the current products in the market? Because if you can, you might find it easier to acquire customers. I certainly have done this before with humongous success with my food business. I'm not going to give away how I did that, but all I will say is one of the competitors before I came into this space didn't do something that I noticed was wide open, and then I went and did that and improved my products with that, and it made a ginormous difference. And so if you can spot weaknesses in other products that are already in the market and go and overcome those, you've got a good angle to approach with your marketing. So think that through. Also think of added value, like what other things can you do to improve the customer experience for your product. So what I'm doing with my other company, with my health food company, is doing more educational material around the niche itself to help people understand. Obviously, it's around health, so we get guest experts that we're getting in to do health webinars and teaching and stuff like that, and it's all for free. And we put these on as a service to our customers, and none of our competitors are doing that sort of thing. So that gives us an added value, and it really helps get our brand shared by our customers, and it leaves a very good reputation with our customers. So you want to start thinking, how can you add value to your customers once you get into this niche market? And that again will help you with cross-selling other products and getting recommended too. And then you want to look at the trend as well in the niche market. You really don't want to be going into markets that are dying. Some people don't think this through in the slightest. So if we just had a quick look here at just Google Trends, which is a free tool by Google, you can just go to Google Trends and then type in a keyword. I just typed in the survival niche because I know that's trending upwards. So if you typed in the word survival, this is just for New Zealand, but it would be the same worldwide because New Zealand's a Western country. It's trending, it's trended quite sharply upwards since 2008, and it will probably continue to trend upwards, I would imagine. So there's an example of an upward trending market. So a downward trending market might be something like, I could be surprised by this one actually, but I would say sewing, yeah, it's sort of downward trending. Well, a little bit going sideways in these last few years, but it's definitely trending not like it used to. Maybe people are just not sewing as much. So you could put something like knitting in, it would probably trend pretty sharply downwards. It's interesting that knitting is very seasonal. That's another point which I want to bring to your attention. When you're going into a niche market, you want to consider if it's a seasonal product, because if it's sharply seasonal, and it looks like this is, people must do more knitting in the winter time, stay inside and it's an indoor sort of a thing, then you need to be aware of that your sales will be dramatically affected in the season. So consider that. But before you jump in and look at sourcing a product, I would think through the market and think through how, what the customers like and all the things that we've mentioned before you just jump into an opportunity. So I would do that first, and then in the next videos we'll look at some things like calculating the profit margin, the profit potential for a niche market, and then we'll look at how to go and source a product that you might want to white label. We can talk about that. And so we'll get onto those in other videos. Of course, if we just go back to our little survey here, not everybody has said that their number one thing is selling physical products on Amazon. So I will probably address some of the selling physical products and white labeling stuff first, and then the free videos that I put out. And then after that, I'll address some of the other things that people wanted to know about, like list building. So let's have a quick look through some of the other things that people wanted. I'm just looking through here, Facebook stuff, autoresponders, a lot on email marketing that people wanted, list building stuff. Outsourcing, we can definitely look at that. I do a huge amount of outsourcing actually, and I've got a really good system for outsourcing now, which I can talk about. And we'll also talk about some of the stuff around developing and understanding more of an education around finance for running your business. Unfortunately, a lot of people I've noticed in the internet marketing space come into this and don't really treat it as a business, and as such they don't have very good financial education on how to understand the numbers and things like profit margins and forecasting, or looking at a cash flow forecasting rather, or a profit and loss report. Things like this are things that, as a business owner, if you're really serious about developing a business, you need to know these things. You can't just fly blind and hope for the best with your finances, because that's the easiest way to ruin a business is having a poor financial education. And most people, unfortunately, in small businesses have a shocking financial education. They don't think it's important to understand their numbers, but it's actually vital. So I will be doing some videos around that stuff, because I asked that question, and again, one of the questions I asked in the survey is, would you like me to do these sort of videos? And a vast majority said yes. So I will be looking at some of that stuff, so you have a better foundation to build your business upon, rather than just racing off and wanting to make sales, which most people are really keen to be the marketer and the salesperson. but they don't take the time to sort of think through the understanding and the foundations first. So we'll get onto that stuff soon. Okay, that's the end of this video. Thanks and bye for now.